It's Ashley Loya. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We just got done with her one-on-one coaching call, so she's got a lot of ideas and a lot of things buzzing in her head. So it's a great time to interview you about the mastermind. So kind of tell everybody where you're from and what your business is and who you help, who you serve.
Great. Thank you for having me on. Again, my name is Ashley. I own a lash and brow studio in Boulder, Colorado. And we specialize in natural lashes, lash extensions, prioritizing natural lash health. And that's about it.
Yeah. What's the name of your business?
Center of Attention.
Center of Attention. Love it. Love it. All right. So Miss Ashley, kind of talk me through what your business looks like, how many team members you have, and why the mastermind kind of seemed like something that might be beneficial to you and the business that you wanted to create.
So currently I have 2 other lash artists, and I myself am still in the treatment room. So there's 3 of us that take clients. And the reason I was very attracted to the mastermind is because I was interested in growing a team, getting myself out of the treatment room, and scaling the business. I feel like I'm sitting on this gold mine. We have this great clientele, we have this demand for it. And I've just struggled in the past on building that team and creating that culture that I envision, that I've wanted since owning Center of Attention.
Beautiful. Now kind of share with people how you came into owning Center of Attention, because it is a little bit more unusual than the standard, I just was a solo lash artist and grew from there.
Yeah, exactly. So I moved to Colorado in 2016, and I got a job at Center of Attention as a lash artist and brow artist. And then the previous owner wanted to get out of the industry. She moved into a completely different industry, and she offered to sell the business. So I bought Center of Attention in 2018. So I have been the owner for almost 4 years, exactly, almost. So
yeah. So what's that experience been like?
Well, that's another reason why I was attracted to the masterminds, because it's really hard. And it might be hard going into it, but you just don't, until you're in that moment, you don't really know what to do. And so I think the mastermind is so great. It's such a good resource for other business owners, beauty industry, specifically business owners who have maybe already gone through some of the stuff that I've gone through, or maybe they haven't experienced some things and I can offer my expertise on something that they haven't experienced yet. So, but yes, owning a business is a lot of work.
Just a little bit. So tell me about, what's been your favorite part of the mastermind so far?
Well, my favorite part has probably been the retreat.
Yeah.
I have very much appreciated all of the content. But the favorite part, most fun, was the retreat that was held in Nashville, and it was 3 days, 2 days.
Yeah. You had 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was just so nice to get to know the other women that are part of this group, hear their story, learn a little bit more about their business. The venue was super fun. It was nice to take time away from the business too. And I think a lot of us were in the same boat where we hadn't done that. I think I was gone for 4 or 5 days from the business. So that was kind of nice to be pulled in that direction too, and give myself some
forced. You were forced to come to Nashville. I don't know, begrudgingly.
I wouldn't have probably allowed myself that kind of time.
Yeah. And it's so much, the retreat is by far my favorite part. And that's why, in season 3, we're doing 2 retreats, because we do see such a difference in when we get the members together. So for context, we meet monthly, actually twice a month as a group, right, on Zoom. So it's online, and it is such a different experience to get everybody in a room and have almost that social aspect to it. Because when we jump on the calls, it's like, let's get efficient, let's coach you through your problems, let's get you working on these things. But in the retreat, there's more downtime too, as well, to connect and understand each other and relate and maybe connect with people that you otherwise may not have, because it hasn't come up yet. And so the retreats for us are also the most fun, because we get that connection with you guys too, because I know names and I know faces. But to meet you guys in person, especially spend that quality time with you, just really makes a difference in how the group dynamic shifts after the retreat as well. So kind of tell me about what has changed about you or your business now that you've been in the program for a few months?
Okay. Myself, I feel like I have grown a lot too. Another reason I was attracted to Mastermind is the mindset part. It's still for sure a work in progress. But even just making or kind of, going outside of my comfort zone, even to join the group and then to go to the retreat. I'm very introverted naturally. And so for me to be around people 8 hours a day, strangers really, for 3 days in a row was a lot, but so great. And honestly, then coming back and then doing in our, it's giving me more confidence to maybe in our group chats or in our group calls to ask questions or give more advice. That maybe I hadn't done before, so because I was able to meet the women. And so I feel like now I know them, they're more friends, and I'm more likely to speak up then or something and help or ask a question. And then as far as my business, I just hired my first employee. I've hired one since I've owned the business, but this is my first employee coming back from COVID. So we're kind of rebuilding from COVID still a little bit too.
Yep.
So, and that has been so great. That's exactly what Tara and I were just talking about on our one-on-one, is kind of setting a schedule for her onboarding. And that has been so helpful because I really did not know what I was doing, and I've never had that process in place. So that is going to grow a ton. That is worth it all right there, because she will be revenue producing and it's going to be great.
I love it. I love the mindset shift. Yes. Like, let's even go back to before our call today of like, where was your head at of the problems that you were facing? Because you are still in the treatment room. And at the time of this recording, we're heading into holiday season. And so it's definitely a lot of demand, yet she's got this team member coming on 30 hours a week. And what do we do with it? Now, most people, and probably people outside of this program or what you might have done before, is just, okay, here's a warm body. We're just going to throw them into the deep end, sink or swim. Let's get our clients and just kind of hope for the best. So tell me about how you're approaching that differently than that mindset of it's just a warm body, we've got to get her in, and how you're being more intentional about setting this new team member up for success.
Sure. The team member, yes, I think just having more of a set plan. She has the itinerary of what we're doing each day of her onboarding process,
which is 90 days, right?
90 days. Yep. 90-day. The business though, even from my hiring process, was different.
Yeah.
So that was huge. I mean, I feel like I'm getting a more quality candidate or employee this way too. So that from a business standpoint, from her setting her up for success, I think we'll be just having more of those processes in place for her, and benchmarks and KPIs.
Yeah. So tell me about, and KPIs, just for those who don't know, is key performance indicators. So today, what we mapped out for her, Ashley, was what does it look like at the end of this team member's 90 days that she can do, that we can identify as data for her job. So what that means is not like, I feel like she's fully onboarded. It's no, what were some of the KPIs that we came up with? You can just give 2 or 3. I know we have a couple of them. But...
percent of services completed on time.
Yep.
Her first visit retention.
So that's where how many new clients are coming back for a second appointment. So Ashley's job as the owner is to build a clientele for this team member by way of marketing, but it's also the team member's responsibility to give the experience of the results that Center of Attention is known for. And so we are tracking the team member, how well she's giving the results and the experience that she's going to be trained to, by tracking this data point of first visit retention. So how many of the new clients coming in come back for a second appointment? That's a great metric to be able to track, to see if a team member is doing the job that gets the results of clients coming back, which is what we all want. And that's how you build a clientele. And I think another one that we came up with was number of fixes in a time period, right? Because that will indicate how well they're retaining the information of what they're being trained to, and also give them the language to talk to clients about client satisfaction policy, to make sure that we're not losing all the new people that are coming in, that we're doing so much work to market and build that clientele for her.
Yes.
Yeah. So kind of last little thing here, as far as what has it been like? Because I know it's still a challenge, but like, what has it been like to start to look at your business more as the brand rather than actually, and I know you kind of came into it as it was already an established brand, but even starting to stop seeing yourself as a service provider and really start to look at yourself as the CEO. How's that shift been for you?
That's still, I'm on the struggle bus with that one, but
Oh, go ahead, share, be real.
yeah. But it's been great, and it feels yeah, like I'm starting to own it more. I think maybe with my situation coming into something that was a little bit more established, yes, the brand was there, the clientele was there, but it still wasn't really operating as a business. And Tara you have definitely taught me more about the number side of it. I'm still in that transition of moving my current employees to hourly versus commission. Huge. I think that's going to be huge. So really looking at as a business and being an owner and taking pride in that, and that like really building something of value has been huge.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We've talked with Ashley about what the future might look like. And there's a couple of different ideas. And one possibly either she grows it and expands into being a medical spa, or even sells it someday, or becomes an absentee owner. So you kind of tell me, now that you've had a lot of the mindset exposure of how to shift perspectives, you've seen different ways of looking at the numbers and growing the business. What's possible for Center of Attention now?
Pretty much anything.
Well, let's get a little more specific. Give me a 5-year plan of like what would be killer for your business.
Well, again, I'm a numbers person, so we've been working more with numbers. So as far as, but yes, I would have what is possible. What we've been trying to think about 5-year plan is I could be completely out of the treatment room.
Mm-hmm.
I have more financial freedom, a little bit more work-life balance. I have a team of maybe 10 girls, potentially moving more in offering different services, more medical aesthetic services. Yeah, but there's a lot, but that's kind of more the direction I'm going.
Yes, I love it.
A lot of possibilities though.
Yeah. And we actually even at the retreat mapped out what revenue goal you would need to be at in order to walk away with the sale price that you wanted to have. Do you remember that? You don't have to share those numbers. They're big.
Yeah.
They're multiple 7, maybe even in the 8 figures. So just know that it's possible. But when we start to have a process dependent business, it takes the weight off the owner so much, because then it's just managing the processes. So she's starting to see that even with the hiring process and how that was different. Hiring this new candidate who starts here in about 2 weeks, and building out the onboarding that's going to set this team member up for success, and hiring her at a rate that was really profitable for the business, so that we can start to get some profitability back in the business, so Ashley can start to take less clients. So it really is a step-by-step process of phasing the owner out of the treatment room and moving her working more on the business, and even checking in with Ashley and reminding her that, yes, when you take a client, you're producing revenue, but it's actually costing the business more for you to be in the treatment room, and prioritizing the time to train your new team member is a return on your investment of your time, far more than what you would get with a team member. So, or with a client.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. And actually, yes, I didn't, but the mindset, I'm actually really starting to enjoy working on the business. I love still seeing clients and taking clients, but it's actually now becoming more joyful to kind of working on the business, crunching the numbers, putting those processes in place. It just is a lot. It's like really fulfilling that way.
I agree. I 100% agree. So what's some final advice you have for anybody who's considering either Society X, where we teach the hiring processes, or the mastermind, where we really start to focus on marketing and mindset and management? If they're sitting on the fence, what advice would you give them to make a decision one way or the other?
I think 100% do it. Sitting on the fence, just do it. I understand it can be an investment. That can be kind of a fear. That was one of my fears, I think, even in one of our first calls. So that I can totally relate to, but it's so worth it. This might not be a fair analogy because I'm not a parent, but I imagine it being kind of like a new parent, where you don't really know what you're getting yourself into until you're in it. Or you don't know what you're doing, even like when you have this baby, even if you've read all the books and you've listened to all the podcasts and you've, worked with children or everything, you still don't maybe know what you're doing. You still need to utilize your resources, right? You might reach out to another mom. You might reach out to your own parents. You might ask doctor's advice. So then Society X or masterminds, like that's kind of what you get. You get those resources.
Get the village.
You get the village, and it's so cool to reach out to those people and to have that support. And everybody is so wanting to help everybody and like watch their businesses thrive. And then it's so cool. I remember this moment, because you've mentioned, you know, people from past masterminds, and you'll be like, even when we're at the retreat, you're like, oh my gosh, so-and-so is now at like 4 members. And we were like, whoa, and I don't even know that person, but we were all like, oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yes.
Just hearing like you and Fadi and Victoria talk about, you know, somebody from your past group who is reaching that success level. So
yeah,
support is unlimited, and it's so great. And it's like, that is worth everything.
I love it. I love it. And I can't wait for you to look back, especially even at the end of the season, and look back at how far you've come just in the 6 months that we've worked together. And yeah, it's going to be quite the journey, especially because we're starting to pivot the mastermind into really focusing in on scaling and managing and getting people their time back so that they can really focus on the revenue generating activities. And you are right in that spot to keep going and scaling and start pulling back work in the treatment room.
Yeah.
Oh, Ashley, I've loved working with you. You have been amazing, and we're not done yet. So don't.
I know, like we still have some time.
We still got some time. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing. And if you guys want to learn more about Society X, which is where we teach the processes to hiring, or the mastermind where we focus on marketing, managing a team and mindset, just hit me up in the Instagram DMs. You can send me #hire, and we'll talk about your hiring goals and your team building goals. All right. Until next time, have a good one.